I guess the one thing as well for Hadjar, obviously it's wet and you've got those white lines, and they've been talking about how slippery they are. But the other thing is just the power of a Formula One car is like nothing else. Like just the tiniest blip of the throttle, and you've got almost 1,000 horsepower almost instantaneously. This is the first time he's driving this car in the wet. We also had a little bit of damp running in Bahrain testing, but only Haas went out.
Yeah, Haas was the only one that went out with their intermediate tires.
So
And even still, that wasn't really wet enough for the intermediates.
yeah, it was kind of like slick, damp,
It it
let's
was
say.
it was it was just enough, but it wasn't really the track wasn't really wet enough for proper intermediate. So what Esteban was the one who was out. He came into the pits every single time each lap because there was more water in the pit lane, which he could go put his tires over and cool them off before going back out for each lap. He did like 3 laps that way. I was actually on stream when that happened, of all things.
Okay. Yeah, so basically all of these rookies have never driven a Formula One car in the wet, and it's just going to be different. It's going to be harder. It's not easy to start with in a Formula One car, and it's just going to be much, much harder now. So I think that's just caught Hadjar out. You know, a tiny twitch in his little toe. Suddenly he's got 1,000 horsepower behind him, sending him into the wall. So it's easily done. He's not happy about it.
Hey guys, I just need to jump into be the moderator crash one moment. Hey, please do not talk about illegal links in chat. We don't support that. Again, we're a watch along, and we expect you to be watching in a legal way. If you want to talk about it, be your pirate ways, you have to do that somewhere else. I'm sorry, guys. This is how we protect the channel, unfortunately. So, someone asked what papaya rules are. Basically, it's team rules for McLaren. That's what papaya rules means. It's just team rules. So, if say Oscar, there's been a couple times where Oscar's been ahead of Norris. They've told Oscar to let Lando pass him.
So that's actually a misconception. Papaya rules does not mean, it does not mean like letting each other pass or like deciding a winner. Papaya rules is more like rules of engagement for how they're allowed to overtake each other. So really, papaya rules is like an agreed set of places that you will pass on the lap or maneuvers that you'll do. You know, they'll say like you won't send it from 2 car lengths back into turn 3 or that kind of thing. So papaya rules is actually like a list of agreed ways that they would get alongside each other. It's not a decision before the race as to who's going to win or who's going to finish ahead of the other. That will come actually just in the race. They'll basically just tell them in code or just plainly on the radio if they want them to swap.
Sometimes plead with Lando to let them swap. Oh man, yeah. So that it's again they're referring to papaya. It's just referring to McLaren, how McLaren deals with their drivers on track, because they are at the front of the race, brings precedence, importance about what there's going on. Again, we are right now basically about 5 minutes ago to a new formation lap. The start was aborted because Isaac Kaja basically spun off of the track and into the wall. His car has been removed from track. So he's I did not start, not I did not finish because he did not actually start the race. So we are basically having an aborted start right now. We are starting in about 5 minutes. We will have another formation lap. So we are doing formation laps with a standing start like we normally do in F1.
I just listened to Zach Brown being interviewed by the Sky coverage. He's not saying a whole lot. He was vouching for a start under the safety car, which is obviously good for McLaren because, they're in 1-2, so they can't go forwards, but they can certainly be overtaken if we get a start from the grid. But a safety car start kind of guarantees that they will stay in 1-2 at least through the first couple laps. I don't think anyone's listening to him. So I do think we'll get a start from the grid.
So, one of the things that just came over F1 TV is that they basically saying the Ferrari is calling what they call F Class One rain. So, in about 7 minutes. So basically, 2 minutes into the race. So lap two, lap three, we are expecting them to get more rain, then a gap, and then more rain again. I believe Class One rain is basically is a light rain per se. Um, uh, Ruth said like if you get to class three, that's basically a red flag scenario, is what they're talking about. So we're class one intermediates, class two obviously wets, class three looks like the way that the terminology is being used. It's in that regards. Andrew, let's go. Ollie, legendary opportunity coming. Yeah, last the first challenge. Anyone maybe? Um, anything you want to throw in before we've got 3 minutes to go before they get a new formation lap?
The only thing that's going through my mind is just looking at these pictures of Lando and Pole and then Max P3 so directly behind him. In all of the coverage leading up to this first race, and all the pundits from any news organization are asked to predict their winner for the season, predict their driver championship standings. Every single person's either put Lando to win it with McLaren the favourites or a Max Verstappen fifth title. We saw quite a lot last year. Max playing a little bit of the psychological game in races like Mexico, and making some interesting sends on Norris. Let's put it that way. And obviously, he's not expecting to get through cleanly without a penalty. But if you can make him hesitate. So I'm kind of thinking, does Max try something here down into turn one? Does he put in his car in a place, even if it's going to get him a 5 or a 10-second penalty, but just to kind of shake Norris up if those two are going to be the favourites for the driver's title? Do you get in early in the kind of psychological side of that battle and do something? Does he, in air quotes, misjudge his braking point, give him a little bump through turn one? It's the kind of thing Max would do. So I'm looking forward to that. It's not a long run here, though. We do see a lot of chaos in Australia turn one. But it's not the longest run for people to get like a full overtake done like we see in places like Mexico.
So again, refreshing what has happened. We're about 1 minute away. Isaac Kajad basically binded on the formation lap, and that caused a board started. Basically, it was about a 10-minute delay. After they got him off basically a 10-minute delay once that was called. We were starting in about 45 seconds now. We have two people in the pit lane. We have Bierman, who did not set a time yesterday. He's going to be starting from the pit lane, and then we know that Liam Lawson's changed his one of his wing. Which ring was it again? V
Rear. So it's the whole rear wing structure. They said at least he's got a new higher rake beam wing, which is the lower down one that sits just by the exhaust. Maybe the top plane would be different as well. But basically, they put a higher downforce wing on. I guess he was struggling with front rear balance in quali, which seems to be the case because he was going through the grass multiple times. So they've just given him a car which I guess is a little bit more drivable, a little bit more downforce, which you want in the wet. If he goes from starting P18 to effectively P19 at the front of the pit lane, it's not a huge cost to them, so you may as well get a slightly better car.
coming up to the moment right now. Yeah, those are asking about Ryan. Ryan is basically he's taken back from commentating this year. He may be back later this year. We'll tell you when it happens. So right now you've got Grash and Mr. V here on our first race this year. So we are now starting a new formation lap. Are we going to get through this next formation lap? And it was windy. You can see leaves on the track. That's interesting.
It looked windy. Yeah, you can see the trees here, like above the barriers. Yeah, I mean it's a storm, right? It's just the tail end of a storm which passed through a couple hours ago. Yeah, and that wind as well is going to throw some people off because you're going to be getting, if it's in a different direction to yesterday, or if it's just more than yesterday, you're going to have some breaking points which are now, well, probably not closer in the wet, but some breaking points which are certainly a lot further back than you're expecting. It might as well make turn one more chaotic. It looks like the wind is coming basically down the pit lane from turn one towards the grid, which means that you can get on the brakes a little bit later. It allows people to make those moves on the inside at the first corner.
Again, Lawson and Behrman are pit lane starts. Isaac Ajat has been retired already due to crashing on the first formation lap. This is our second formation lap after the first one was first start was aborted. So far, so good. Are they putting them on the grid? No. One of the new rules is that the cars in pit lane have to go around for the formation lap and come back into pit lane. So they are on track. That's why they are on track at the moment. So they will, though, Lawson and Behrman will be coming back into the pits for their start. We are lining up now. Cars are getting into position on the grid.
It looks like they've all got there, so that's nice.
Yeah. And again, you'll see that Behrman and Lawson have gone back in the grid because they are a pit lane start. So they've returned to the grid, to the pit lane itself.
That is different, I will say, which might be catching people out. Like, it didn't used to be the case. You would just sit there and like watch everyone else do the formation lap in the past.
We have the green flag behind, and the lights 3, 4, 5 lights. And here we go. We are racing in Melbourne. Max is coming up on the inside.
Max was a great start.
Yeah, Max was a good start. Oscar had a little bit of wiggle room, but they've lined up. Norris. I know Max has gone ahead of Oscar. So it's now ordered Norris. Verstappen, so Verstappen has moved up a position. Leclerc has jumped 2 positions.
It looks like everyone's being super cautious out there.
Lando has a good jump. Has gotten a second and a half jump on Verstappen right now, and Oscar's a half second behind Verstappen at the moment. And we have another accident. Who is this one? It's one of the Stewin. Oh,
that's a big one.
Yeah. So we
that's
have
a
a yellow flag
I think.
He's doing says he's okay. So number second. Well, we did get a rookie on the first lap. That did actually come true. Yeah, Jack Doohan has. Let's take a look back at his camera. So right now is safety car at the moment. Oh, we've got the safety car on track now. That's a new upgrade. That's nice. Wow, let's take a look doing.
It looks like he actually hit the wall coming out of turn 5, and then it's just skidded along that little stretch between 5 and 6. I haven't seen a replay yet. That's tough. It's been a good weekend for Jack so far.
Yeah.
He was looking good. He was looking okay in quality. He's looking just like confident all weekend. That's a shame. Like he could have done really well today. And his home race as well.
Yeah, Jack's camera is choppy. I can tell you that right now.
So yeah, just on throttle coming out of 5. The torque caught him out. So actually, very similar to thing that happened to Hadjar. Just sputting the wheels up coming out of 5.
He's gone backwards too.
And suddenly the car's backwards.
He's full spin went into the code.
And
And
Sainz.
that's Saints as well.
Yep, it's the turn 14.
Oh boy,
Is that turn 14? He's backwards. I thought he was on turn 13, but he's on turn 14, which is right-hander. So he's pointing backwards.
So Saints, yeah. Oh wow. I just showed the replay of him. He comes through and loses the back end, and he goes back into the wall. He seems to be okay as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a slam to the side, but he's right. That car's out. That front right wheel is snapped off.
Meme guy, it's one did not start, two DNFs at this point. So it's a tactical point, basically, but we have 3 cars out already. Safety car through the pit lane.
To avoid Sainz, basically.
Yeah, they're going to go through the pit lane. That's interesting.
I'm surprised they're out at all where Doohan is. Like, they're obviously having to squeeze past Doohan coming into turn 6. And it's so slippery. We've seen people drop it. Well, one on formation lap and one under safety car. So even at these speeds, they can spin out. They're going super slow there.
Yeah, they've got a nice shot of. So Sainz is out of the car. He is walking about. So he's okay. That's the first thing is he is okay. But we are now 3 cars out under 2 laps.
Gonna have no one left by lap 8 at this point. We might get our Behrman win after all. That is a massive blow to Williams. Williams obviously huge momentum this off season. Looking okay in testing, putting in those glory laps, went fastest on day 2. They've looked good so far this weekend. Obviously 2 cars into Q3 for the first time since 2016, I think, for Williams. Or at least they were saying Albon's P6 on the grid was their best quality since 2016. So they had a lot of confidence, a lot of momentum. And Sainz out on lap 1 it's just going to put a bit of a damper on that garage. Hopefully they bounce back. I'm sure Sainz will be fine. He's quite a headstrong driver, obviously, with all his moving around and getting fired in the last few years. But hopefully for the team.
One thing in play right now, noticeable is that Hulkenberg has jumped 5 spots, and Antonelli's it's jumped 3 spots from their starting. Ocon obviously has been beneficiary of 3 people already. He's jumped 4 spots, so we've got some movement in the backfield already. So Hulkenberg to 12th behind Stroll and Alonso, which are 11th and 10th. So he could potentially reach up into points if he can get past the Aston Martins.
I will say for Ocon, he hasn't really done anything because he's had 3 people ahead of him leave the race, and then also he's got +1 for now being ahead of Lawson, even though he was basically ahead of him already. But yeah, Hulkenberg's made a couple of places there. So basically everyone at the back has gained +1, +2, +3 for free. Hulkenberg's made a couple. Got ahead of Antonelli. I think he started behind him. And then Leclerc's got ahead of Snowden and Albon as well to join that front 5.
And then finally, Max is ahead of Oscar.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
interesting changes in that first lap.
They're going so slowly. I guess this crashes just catch you out because you're thinking about it on a high-speed corner, but he's probably only going like 30 miles an hour there. Well, probably a bit more than that, 40, 50.
You keep saying how slow they're going, what the cars are going right now on track, and I'm wondering that's an issue of because like I know these cars, those tires need to heat up for grip purposes. So
Yeah, those tires are going to be ice cold now with what, half a lap of full speed running. So these tires are going to be icy cold. Obviously, the wet tires are designed to run colder than slick tires, but even still, this is going to be too cold. So the whole grid is going to be on ice. Basically, they're going to be doing what they can to keep them warm under the safety car, but you have to be careful with that because if you're swerving around, you can end up like Sainz or like Hadjar. So when the safety car peels away, I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see even more spinning.
Several chat says that yeah, these tires are frozen. This isn't going to be food. You guys have some bad puns in chat.
Don't eat the tires; they don't taste good.
Antonelli's basically the engineer just told Antonelli to be mindful of the white lines, and he's like, "Yeah, I know about that." I got a question about Cadillac, basically the Andretti team, but not a name. Drivers next year, we suspect that there'll be an American driver, particularly out of IndyCar, and that would probably most likely be Herta, who's in there in the Andretti family. And then we're looking at an experienced driver from F1. So the leading two candidates seem to be the three that keep coming up is Bottas, who's a reserve driver right now back at Mercedes. Kevin Magnussen, who's doing WEC and other things at the moment. Excuse me. And then Checo Perez obviously is in that mix.
Oh, I hope not. I'd like to see Bottas in that car personally. I think it's the one that makes most sense. Like he's still around Formula One, and he was on okay form. He wasn't like the best form of his life in those last couple of years at Sauber. Certainly better than Perez though. Obviously, Perez does probably still bring some sponsor money with him, but Bottas makes sense to me. I still think there's a chance that Cadillac could pick up one of the drivers who is on the grid currently. Like contracts don't mean a whole lot in Formula One. They have a chance to pick up someone like like a Pierre Gasly, well, maybe not Ocon, who's just gone to Haas, but that kind of driver. It's possible if the paycheck is right. So
yeah, and that's not really an issue. The paycheck is not that much of an issue. The big reason why I know people don't want to see Checo, but Checo is from Mexico, and so he does bring a good number of sponsors with him. And that's a feature of why if Checo wants to come back, that's a path for him to come back essentially. So
certainly, yeah. I question whether that's the competitive edge that Cadillac would want starting their Formula One career. I feel like he'd be much better served by many other people.
Oh, I mean, it's not. I mean, there's so many people who are potential in this second seat. Um, and even still, like there's other American drivers that we could be talking about, particularly from IndyCar. That would be, these would be the American rookie type scenario. So that's what we're looking at. Again, we're on lap 6 right now. We've been under the safety car since lap 1 due to incidents. We had an aborted start, so we started actually about 10 minutes later than expected due to an aborted start. Uh, Again, Isaac Hajjad went out on the initial formation lap, and then we did get around, and we got around and then started, and then we had Doohan and then Science go off, unfortunately.
Doohan made it 5 corners. Sainz made it 13. Neither of them finished a lap. Doohan's car is showing again on the timing, but basically that's just the transponder in the car has switched back on. They may have even like actually just turned the car on, like turned the electrics on to, I don't know why, check something or like help with getting it on the truck. So that'll be what that is. He's also moved. He's got to turn 8. I'm assuming on the back of a flatbed. But yeah, Doohan is certainly not coming back.
Yeah.
The whole back half of his car is in bits down at turn 5. And he's going to be, well, I'm assuming in Alpine hospitality or maybe a medical tent. So there's absolutely no way he's back.
Yeah. So safety car is apparently going to be coming in at the end of this lap. This is lap 6 that we're talking about. So,
No, I think it's not coming in.
oh, it's not coming in?
No. Because they're down at turn 13, so the safety car would have gone out in front already.
There we go.
Like Norris is still right with it.
I misunderstood Crofty. That's my problem.
Okay. Yeah, it has to pull away from them about turn 11. It has to start like driving off the front of the leader. Just see all the drivers trying to get desperate little bits of heat into the tires that they can find, but they're not going to find all that much.
John Beer in chat saying Burt Mylander World Drivers Championship. We do not award points by laps led. So that's
It's just a shame. He deserves recognition. I believe he'll be coming in this lap. It doesn't look like there's anything there anymore.
Okay, yeah, we now have the safety car ending signal.
After the reminder that actually, yeah, Norris has finished 0 laps under green flag condition. So if on this restart we got another crash and a red flag, and then the rain starts heavy, and the race had to be called off, we would just get no points. We've not got to the points threshold yet, which will be on lap 9 at this point.
Now I've just noticed. I'm looking at where people are. Lando Verstappen, Lando and Norris are close to each other. There's a little bit of a gap to Oscar, and there's a much bigger gap to Russell and Leclerc, and that's interesting to see.
They'll be bunching up. Because, yeah, the safety car leaves them on down into 11. So Norris is obviously going to go slow now until kind of the entrance to 14. I would expect him to send it then.
And
Where's
we
he going
are
now?
now green flag.
He's going fast already.
Looks like Oscar did. Sorry, Lando went early.
Yeah, he went down into 12. Just very early.
Max was just right there with him. So we are racing again in Melbourne, everyone.
Verstappen not able to actually get up to him, and actually Piastri getting closer to Verstappen. But we've got everyone single file currently. Everyone taking a look at Tsunoda.
Has a safety car crashed before? Yes, in Brazil it did crash. It wasn't in an F1 session though. It was before an F1 session. It did crash in Brazil.
We've had safety cars crash, but not for decades. I feel like back in the 90s it happened.
No, Brazil. We had the safety car crash, but it
No,
wasn't.
I mean,
during,
sorry, I mean in the race. In the race.
Yeah, not during a race.
No, but we have had that
Safety
in the
car,
past. I'm pretty sure
Alonso noted for a safety car infringement.
that would be him holding too much for a gap to Gasly, I assume, or not enough of a gap being alongside him. Yeah, no changes under that lap. Not that easy actually to make a move on people with no DRS here. And everyone's got ice cold tires now, so
yeah, Max is about a second behind Norris at the moment, but Oscar is about 7/10 behind Max, so that's our gaps at the moment.
it's actually not looking that wet anymore. Down here after turn 2, there's no water coming off the back of the cars.
Yeah.
Ferrari's category 1 rain was a lie. It
Yeah,
seems.
it looks like we're not getting any rain at this point. And I think they said it's about 30. They expect about 30 minutes
Until rain. Tsunoda with the safety car infringement as well. Which, more often than not, is just driving too far back from the car ahead. You also got a range of car lengths that you're allowed to be in.
So Max has moved up about 3/10 behind Norris.
So he's gained about 0.6 this last lap, right on the back of him. It looks like it's getting drier, certainly. So the cars are obviously pushing away a bit of a dry line.
There is still spray, so the
There's
track is still wet. But ultimately, it is where it's not raining at this point. So
Verstappen is certainly on the pace of Norris. Norris is not just driving up the road and disappearing. Like Max is locked onto the back of him, not getting any moves made at the moment.
And Max has dropped back about 6/10.
I think the intervals in the TV feed are actually not updating. They're different to the multi-viewer ones.
Mm.
The rain's got into the data center of the track, I guess.
Did something happen to Yuki? He has a exclamation mark next to his name.
He's under investigation. Safety car
okay, that's new. Okay, I see for Alonso as well. Okay, so they've got an indication if someone is under investigation. That's cool.
It also made a lot of changes. I quite like the new timing tower thing. I like the new font. It's nice and clear.
Cleaner. It feels a little bit cleaner than last year's. They've got a bit more Um, they've added more bells and features to what's going on, which is nice.
Yeah, I like the under investigation flag. It's a nice one just for letting you know what might be coming. I would love if they do get a penalty to see a little +5, +10 next to their name as a reminder. Hopefully, because that's something that's been asked about for years. Hopefully, they've added that.
Yeah,
If they've got the exclamation mark, we have to wait. I don't want either of them to get a penalty, but if they do, it's a
but
nice test of that.
it'd be nice. Yeah, it'd be nice to see that besides just the black and white flag. Looking at some of the things right now, people are yelling about Hamilton. People cheering on for Hamilton. Um, people cheering for different drivers. Again,
Trying
we're
to
on
look at the
lap
gaps.
11, right? Say again?
I was just trying to look at the gaps between the cars. It looks like the closest fight out there is actually Antonelli Hulkenberg for P12 and Stroll ahead of them. It looks like other than that, everyone's kind of settled into a rhythm about a second or a second and a half gap between every car. But then back behind P10 is when we're actually seeing some cars close to each other. We've had, I believe, 0 overtakes in actual racing so far. Got Anthony trying absolutely everything, going wide down the main straight, trying to get temperature out the tyres, temperature into the tyres, air through the
People
side pods, something.
So people are asking about colors on the timing chart. So purple means it's the fastest lap, fastest time in that sector. Green means the driver has improved in that particular sector over that time. So Verstappen just had the fastest first sector. Oscar has taken that from him. Yellow means that the driver is not improved. He's had a better sector previously. You will occasionally see red show up. That means a bigger gap. And they are enabling DRS.
I mean, it's not raining anymore.
Yeah. Um, right now, Oscar has the fastest lap. I do want to remind people that people are not getting a point this year for the fastest lap. That is just information only for our benefit, but that is not a point generating scenario anymore.
What do you think about taking away the fastest lap point?
It's not a big deal. It was a point, and it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal to begin with, and the people who were getting fastest lap, too many times fastest lap went to someone who wasn't even in the points because they put on they came, last lap came in, slapped on new softs, and then did a flying quali style lap. So it wasn't really it wasn't generating interest or going to people as important where it was.
Yeah, it's very artificial. As you're saying, you'd get like someone when they're running in P2 and they got a big gap behind them, you pick because you may as well get that extra point. But it's not a measure of who was sort of best during proper racing.
Yeah, and it just and and I think one of the thing that really tanked it was that like pretty much every position down through like P17 had at some point earned the fastest lap.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was something crazy. Like I even like P20 had got in it at some point. So it was a not really a good measure. It wasn't. It's gone. It's not a big deal. It's just a point.
I'm a big advocate for replacing it with a pole position point or two, similar to Formula 2. Because
That
that is a measure of like driver skill. Like, but getting pole is not easy.
yeah, that would make more sense to give it to the poll. Poll before, and I would say poll before we start considering any grid placement penalties.
Mm, I don't know about that. Well, also because yeah, pole
But
and going fastest in quali are not the same thing. Pole is starting on P1, like however you get there. So
my
driving
understanding is
fastest
that
in quali is not the same thing.
it's one of those. Um, one of the things that I think they. I'm trying to put my words in my mouth. So basically, because of the sprint races introduction, how it was introduced, they did separate pole from starting P1 in the sprint races. It was a weird. That first year was very weird.
Mm.
So I'm used to earning pole in qualification, but then starting the race not actually starting in P1.
I know what you're saying, but imagine there's a scenario where you and the driver you believe is your biggest rival for pole are out in Q3 at the same time. You can do stuff to sort of soft impede them, kind of make sure they don't get a good lap in. And so, even if you did that and then you got like a 3-place grid penalty, but you caused them to qualify P6, like if you qualify fastest and get a point, that's still an advantage in the drivers' championship. And so I believe if there was going to be a point for that, it's the person who starts on P1, not the person who does the fastest lap in qualifying. That's why there's that difference, because you can get to that fastest lap illegally.
Yeah, and that this is one of those. We're in hypothetics right now. How that should be
Of
handled.
course, yeah.
Yeah, I just know that they will. So can Antonelli just move past Hulkenberg to P12?
Down into 11?
I know right now that there's been scenarios where someone has earned pole in qualification, then they give him the tire for the pole lap, and then they get jumped back 10 spaces for the race. Yeah.
Mm.
So there's we're dealing with an inconsistency what's going on at the moment. So
Yeah, Formula One statistics has always been massively inconsistent, to be fair. They can never decide on what means what, because it's confusing. As you say, like, you win quali, but then your gearbox explodes overnight and you start in P11 or whatever. But you still got that little wind tunnel tyre, the little trophy. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, currently at least, if you're not going to get points for it.
yeah.
It's all just stats. It's all for the stats nerds.
Someone's asking in chat why Hamilton can't overtake Albon. That's a good question. I mean, yeah, admittedly, I mean, like Hamilton is in a new car, so brand new team, new car, new engineer. So
The one thing I say as well is that Williams, for years, has always run a lower downforce setting than basically every other team. They prioritize like a low drag, low downforce setup, which seems to have benefited them so far here. Like Albert Park is a fast track, and obviously it went well for them in qualifying. We saw the same thing from RB, was running a very shallow wing this weekend, and once again it went well for them qualifying P5 and P11. But the main overtaking points are going to be like down into turn 11 after a straight, down into turn 1 after a straight, maybe down into turn 3. If Albon has just got really good straight line speed because he's got no drag on the car, there's not many places that Hamilton can actually be close to him getting into a braking zone. Antonelli spins it, but catches it at turn 4.
No, he's lucky.
It's
Oh,
very lucky.
that's a full. It's a full spin and a little bit more, and he basically turns the car.
He's just lucky there's a car park at turn 4
Yeah.
and not a wall. So yeah, overtakes Hulkenberg, spins it, and now he has to overtake Hulkenberg again. We've got a big gap here, Norris, Verstappen, Piastri, and then a big gap down to Russell. Is Norvo Pia the new Hambot there for this year? Is this going to be the meta for F1 2025?
I know.
Actually, yeah, Norris is dropping them 2.3 seconds to Verstappen. Piastri right on the back of Verstappen's got DRS currently.
Oh, Max just went off track and Oscar just passed him.
Max, no brakes at turn 11. And so McLaren 1-2 once again. Yeah, Norris has been able to drop Verstappen. Piastri now ahead of him. Has the potential to do the same. We could see two McLarens just kind of running away with this one at this point. At least to this first stint.
Max just lost 2 seconds going off track. And again, that allowed Oscar to get ahead of him. And it's going to be almost 2.5 now. He was, again, I'm counting a half a second that he was ahead in that number, by the way. So
just had nothing. He just had no brakes going to turn 11. Oh, he's sort of locked to the front left. It's only half rotating.
And
Antonelli overtaking Hulkenberg again.
Hulkenberg again.
It's good practice. So it's good fancy points. You get one for every overtake. So he's gaming the system.
So they're gonna tag Hamilton for safety car infringement.
It's a bit late. All right.
Albon safety car infringement noted.
May as well just do the whole field at this point.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess they're still looking at the Alonso one. Like, they still show us under investigation. We see no decision on that.
I don't know if they've gone back to actually look at what actually happened as of yet. So
it should be clear. There's not that many things you can do wrong under a safety car. Normally, it's just getting alongside the car ahead or dropping too far back, which is either way is a pretty open shot case. Okay. Like, you could just check the video feed from the car or the transponders. So I don't know why it would take them that long to investigate any of these cars. They've obviously been looking at Alonso for the best part of 10 laps now.
It is funny because in the if there's so they're saying Max is thinking that they might pit for asking if they should pit for new tires if there's more rain coming, because his tires looks like. So we're getting into what that we're being referred to as interslicks. Basically, those tires are becoming flat. The grooves are gone, which push out the water. One of the things that's interesting is in the race notes, there's graphics about what you're not supposed to do in terms of the safety car, and those are there because of Max Verstappen.
Oh yeah, back in the day, like a couple of years ago, particularly in 2021, he was fully alongside the car ahead of him. And again, it's psychological. It's an intimidation thing, but before it was outlawed, why not? Why would you not do that? There's a whole load of rules in that rule book because of Max Verstappen, to be fair.
Yeah.
There's at least a good 5 or 10. But yeah, because it's not been raining now for 15 laps or more, you wear down these inters a lot more because they're designed to be wet and cold, and they're designed to be sliding a bit more. There's more traction between the tire and the tarmac, which is going to basically turn them into a flat, slick tire. And so if it does rain, you've got nothing. Like, you can't get the water out of the way.
So we've also had the exclamation mark. So okay. Albon's there's going to be no further action on Albon's infringement. Alonso exclamation mark has gone away as well, so I'm assuming that's the same as well.
Yeah, he would have had a penalty by now if he's going to get one.
No further action on Hamilton. So all the exclamation marks, the investigations have kind of come to an end. Here's Sonoda, no further action.
Yeah, I'd like to know what they potentially did, but I guess we'll never know.
It's probably a gap, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that there were some gaps behind.
There were. All the guys at the front talking about what they're going to do if it starts raining again. I'm assuming they're expecting it to start raining again soon.
Yeah.
They're in a weird position because obviously better to have new tires, brand new inters, or probably not wets, probably brand new inters. But they're all just worried about losing that track position. Like the McLarens have gained a gap, but they'll still be behind Verstappen and potentially Russell if they do pit. And you never know how much of an advantage those new tires are going to give you. So, kind of a game of chicken at this point.
Yeah, it's a game of chicken. The other thing is if it rains again and someone crashes, then if you put the tires on before that incident, you've lost track position.
Yeah, absolutely. And McLaren literally was saying on the radio that we will pit if there is a safety car. Which I guess implies they won't pit unless there's a safety car. Got Alonso pushing Gasly through turn 10. Antonelli's now got off those two Saubers and runs the back of Stroll. So it looks like there are like significant pace differences between some of these cars, but they just cannot overtake. Like we've seen as well, Lawson was stuck behind Esteban Ocon for 20 laps and has finally got past him and is now 2 seconds ahead already. I would assume it's a similar situation for someone like Hamilton. If he could somehow get in front of Albon and Tsunoda, would probably then start to go up the road a bit. But they're not too far back, actually. Tsunoda's not too far back from Leclerc, only 8 seconds, which is... I would take an 8-second gap in an RB if you told me that a year ago.
There is a new set of rain dropping. It's not a lot, but the track is getting a little more wetter. Oh, you can see it now on the camera on that last shot.
So. It still looks dry by British standards. Call this rain. Yeah, it's certainly starting again, but it depends if they're expecting a heavy shower. That's what's going to change it. Because at this point, obviously, once your tires are hot enough, a light drizzle, actually, intermediate tires don't care. It makes no difference. Because the tires get so sticky that they're like glued down to the track beneath them. And the heat will just basically burn the water away as soon as it touches the tire. Hamilton reporting gearbox issue.
And Antonelli just passed Stroll to go into P11. He's 5 positions up from his starting position.
Yeah, he's got out from the back of Hulkenberg, and he's going quick now. He's already gained 15 seconds on Hulkenberg in not that many laps, so he's got pace. Obviously qualified out position, going out in Q1. It's probably quite good for Antonelli actually to get this experience, like going through the field, making some overtakes. It would be good, good confidence for him just to have that feeling of being quicker than people. Obviously, it would be nice to score points as well. But it's certainly good for his headspace going into the next race. Much better than someone like Duan or Hadjar.
No.
That is one thing of Antonelli. You see him in like any interview, and he just seems like he's just loving it. Like he's just having a great time. I'm assuming being signed straight up into a Mercedes drive is quite a nice confidence boost.
Yeah, no, he is quite a blue ball of energy. It's interesting to watch. They've talked about there's a rookie roundtable, and he's actually very interesting at that roundtable. And he's the one who brought the Alonso meme to.
I've seen the clip. Yeah, I haven't seen the full video, but I've seen that clip, of course.
Poor Laura Winters was not prepared for that. We're now on lap 24 of 57. Again, this is the Racing YouTube channel, and this is our live coverage of the Australian Grand Prix. It is raining, light rain right now, but it is the track. Again, next another lap or two, it will stop. Looks like it stopped again. But yeah, we've had rain in this race. We are on intermediate still.
It's an interesting question at this point because, it's an interesting question whether, if we don't get any more heavy rain, can people just go straight to the end? We've seen at races in the past that you can just sort of keep going on inters for ages. Like, without a heavy rain shower, is anyone going to try and just stick it out for 23 laps? Or 33 laps?
Yeah, I would suspect that at some point that there might be a change. One of the things is there could be a changeover to slicks, and then they would bolt on the hards.
Yeah. I'd quite like to see. I don't have any weather thing up. I might grab one actually.
Clark says he's got a seat full of water.
It's classic Ferrari radio. That's starting the season off strong. Is there a leakage? Leakage of what? Water. It's true. Like that might sound silly. You might think like, oh, it's an open cockpit, so obviously the rain just comes in, but it really doesn't. Like the rain cannot get in when the car's driving. You've also got the air coming off the front wing. The front of the car basically makes like a roof above you. You'll get hit in the face by water that's coming horizontally, but it will not fall down to your lap. So it's actually quite strange for him if his seat is getting wet. It will be the drinks bottle, or it won't be the cooling bag. They won't have that in the car, I guess, because it's certainly not a hot race. Yeah, these two McLarens
Oscar setting a faster sector 1 again. He's got the fastest. We're jumping back and forth between Norris and Oscar, taking fastest lap from each other.
They're both lapping well.
Yeah.
Really,
the gap
really
now
consistent.
Is 12 seconds. So Max is falling back 12 seconds.
Yeah,
almost 13 now. Thank you. Russell is another 8 behind. Leclerc is another 5 behind. And then Tsunoda is 10 behind.
it looks like Hamilton's getting closer to Albon behind him, P7 and P8. I think now that it's drying, it allows Ferrari to like actually use its strength, like get on pace, get a bit closer to Albon, maybe coming out the last corner to make a move down to turn 1, that kind of thing.
Right now, Hamilton is about half second behind Albon. So that's the closest on-track action we have at the moment.
McLaren just proving everyone right. Everyone who predicted a dominant pace. And they're gaining a second a lap now on Verstappen behind them. Near enough. Welcome back to 2016.
Looking at what you guys... Let's take the pounce. People are saying Alex is doing well to hold off Lewis. I saw Andrew.
He is, certainly, to hold on to P7. Haas have really declined. So I made a season prediction video where I said that Haas would be the slowest team for the year. And everyone called me crazy. This was like 3 weeks ago. And everyone called me insane. Look how the turntables... yeah, Haas not looking good for them. Just struggling around at the back. Ocon's 7 seconds behind P15 Lawson. So just him and Behrman.
Yeah, putt-putts in around
together.
We are about 2-3 corners away from Norris and Oscar lapping them.
Yep. They are catching them rapidly. Surprised the TV coverage is not showing Hamilton on the back of. There we go. As soon as I say it.
Yeah. They were showing the back of Albon on the tower.
Okay.
What's Red Bull doing? Oh, okay. So Lawson started from pit lane because again, this is the first time he's raced at this track. So it's a learning session for him basically. Max's tires have fallen off, and he did go off track. He did lose control of the car for a moment. Had to pump the brakes, went off track for a little bit, and that allowed Oscar to pass him again back into P2. And basically, those tires have really fallen off. And again, we're looking at Max now 15 seconds behind Oscar.
I'm wondering, actually, I'd need to see some lap times to confirm this, but I'm wondering in that first stint when Verstappen got between the two McLarens, if Norris was just holding off a little bit, just to wait for Piastri to get through so they could then go around together. Obviously, Norris wouldn't himself choose to do that. There's no benefit for Norris, but I don't know if that was a team decision for the cars to like go through together. Because as soon as Piastri got ahead of Verstappen, both of them were suddenly like half a second a lap quicker. So it really feels like Norris could have done that earlier.
On track right now, we've got Norris and Oscar reaching Behrman, and now he's getting the blue flag. Ocon will be the next one to get the blue flag after that. And then Antonelli has been jumping. He's jumping within DRS range of Alonso now.
He's getting his wish. He wanted to fight Alonso. Wish come true. Crofty hyping up Piastri overtake on Norris. I'm not so sure. He's certainly not going to make a big lunge on him, is he? So unless he gets massively alongside. I'm sure there's some people in the stands who would quite like to see Oscar leading this race instead of Lando, but they're both coming past Ocon now. Probably going to move out of the way coming out of turn 2. Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Piastri's close. So apparently McLaren telling Oscar not to try and overtake, just to hold position in P2. We shall see. We shall see if Oscar follows his orders. Oscar at this point is going to have like the angel and the devil on his shoulder. He's got the McLaren engineer going, "Oh, just hold P2, don't overtake," and then he's got Mark Webber on the other side going, "Don't be a number 2 driver, make us end." He is close, half a second. Piastri going for the win. No way team orders are going to stop him. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. This is just one race and there's 23 to go.
Yeah.
You've got the kind of political, even just the team political side of it to consider as well. I mean, Oscar's got the team side of it to consider as well.
I mean, Red Bull was already throwing aspersions across other teams already, so there's that going on already. So we are back to F1 as your normal, everyone.
It's good to see. Brings a warm feeling to my heart. I'd quite like to see Antonelli behind Alonso. He got to the back of him, but now he's just not progressing. Just holding kind of 1 second back. Might be kind of similar situation to Hamilton Albon, where he just can't get close in the right places, can't get traction coming out the right corners. What's the weather now? It's still just dry. Rain has stopped.
Yeah, rain has stopped. Track is track is drying. There are definitely places on track where there's a dry line now.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit greasy still, but it's near enough dry on the racing line. I do think you could put hards on at this point if it's not going to rain again. Just have to be real careful not to go offline.
Yeah, um,
Zach Brown says time to go racing. In regards to driver's home position, but Piastri goes wide. Almost goes through the gravel at turn 6. Drops down to 2 seconds back.
so oh. So right now, the AccuWeather minute forecast says there's no rain for at least 120 minutes. So it's going to be interesting to see if they do go to they'll go to the hard tire.
Seems likely in that case.
One of the things that we do know is that the hard tire here is performing just as well as the medium tire, and if not a little bit better.
Norris has lapped Liam Lawson.
Oscar's being told that they are free to race, aka you know the rules.
Which is, don't put your front wing into his side pod.
Yeah, people will start rolling after that.
Lawson overtaken by both McLarens.
Alonso is in 0.8. He's under a second to Gasly right now. So that's a battle for ninth we're looking at the moment.
He's been about that close to him the entire time. We also got a few different pairs.
Oh, and
Alonso's backwards out. At 6. Yeah, he's out. He's out. Rear wheels off.
Ooh. That was on TV too. So yeah, Alonso has just crashed into the wall at turn 6. His car is backwards. Oh.
He's not the first rookie to crash, is he? And they're all going to come into the pits. I expect the entire field into the pits. We've got a safety car.
Ferrari has hard tires out.
As does Mercedes.
Who's coming in pits first? Hamilton is coming in the pits first for his team.
I would expect the entire field just put hards on at this point. It's going to be interesting if anyone keeps inters. I guess mediums is the other option, but I think that's just a risk of them like not lasting to the end of the race. So you may as well go for the hards.
But they're
McLaren should come in as well.
Yeah, they're going to double stack. Safety car has to be deployed, but this is going to be interesting for Lando because he has history of not doing well with slicks on a wet track.
Yeah.
Here comes Max. He's coming into the pits now. McLaren did a decent roll sack. I think Oscar lost a little bit of time. Yeah, about a few more seconds, but that's gonna should bunch up.
It's a safety car, so they're going to bunch up anyway. It doesn't make any difference. Oscar was hanging back just to give, obviously, the pit team time to make the double stack. Because coming in and having to stop there by your box is about the worst thing possible. There's just so many things that can go wrong with that.
Oh, Verstappen went to a medium tire. Albon's going to a medium tire. Do they think that that medium tire is going to last? Or it's going to rain again at some point? Ooh. Hulkenberg, Bartolotto, Lawson all have gone to medium tires.
I think you could get a medium to the end, 23 laps. It's just a question of will you have any grip by the end of the race.
Yeah, that is the question at hand. I expected them all to go to hards, but it looks like they're going for the gamble with the medium.
I think you kind of have to if you're Verstappen. Like, if you went on hards as well, you would expect McLaren is just going to be easily quicker than you. So he has to try something, maybe try and get ahead of them at the restart, and then just hold them there. So it's kind of Max's only option.
People are talking about people having DRS on other people. That is out the window right now because we're under the safety car. We won't get DRS again until after the safety car. I think it's either it's a lap after the safety car comes in.
Yeah. Which they changed 2 years ago at this point. It used to be 2 laps.
Yes. And Alonso car is still on track. So this is taking longer than I expected.
Oh, it is. It's just still there.
Yeah,
I think
still there.
because of where he is, he's quite a long way from any entrance to the track.
He is,
You need to get a crane in to come grab the car and drive it away, but the further it is from a door, basically, the harder that is to do. Where is he? He's between.
He lost the back of his car. Lost it. Yeah, the back of the car. Oh. Was there any gravel on the track? Because he lost the back end of the car.
He didn't actually touch the gravel. It was just on the curbs. He just spun the wheel on the curbs.
So I'm wondering if Gasly. I wonder if Gasly kicked up a little bit of gravel behind him. But yeah, he did hit the curb in the back end. He lost the back end, and that was the end of the race for him. He was a passenger at that point. Yeah, it's just the curb.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Gasly kicked up anything.
Yeah, no, it was the curb. He hit the curb, and then basically the back end bumped up, and he lost control of the car. Oh.
These cars are finicky. He would have gone up there, lifted the wheel up, raised the floor up, and you suddenly lost like huge amount of downforce in a split second.
So with that retirement from the race, Antonelli gets inherits P10.
Into the points, yeah.
Oh,
That's an unsafe
there might be
race.
unsafe race.
It's gonna be a penalty for Bortolato. The multi-viewer timing is still showing the two Hasses on Inters. And yeah, Lawson's gone behind them by pitting. I think the Hasses have stayed out on Inters.
But why?
Well, yeah, I agree. But
Yeah,
why?
I mean, why? Um,
I think they have stopped. It looked like they were on mediums as they came past.
but they're saying around lap 45 there could be more rain, like a one lap of rain.
Okay.
So again, right now we are under the safety car because Alonso basically has crashed on track. That's what it brought out the safety car. They've just got the lorry out to his car. He's out of the car, so it looks like he's okay. If you see there's a report of him being taken to a medical center, that's if his collision was a high enough G-force, that's a mandatory requirement that he's checked out. Safety car coming in this lap? Not just yet. It may be. They
It's
just
gonna be
got
a
the
couple
lorry
laps.
to. Yeah, it's gonna be a couple
Yeah.
laps. They just got the. They just cut the lorry to the car.
And there's another lorry at turn 10 for some reason. That does not have a car on the back of it. It's just driving around. It's just doing laps. So McLaren just discussing the rain, saying class 2 or 3 for one lap. Norris says, "You sure one lap?" And they say no. So it's gonna be interesting. It could be. So it seems like Haas going for the gamble that Inter's going to be way quicker for a little period there in a few laps time, and I guess they kind of have to. They have to gamble if they want to get any kind of points out of this race.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think everyone is doing the same. Again, the big gamble is: are you using the medium? Or are you using hards? Oh, they just brought up Sochi on the radio. Not radio, on the broadcast.
These new drone cam shots, the top-down shots on corners, are quite nice. So Alonso's car is on the back of a truck, but it's still sat there on the side of the track. They have to wait for the whole field to get through
Yeah, I
before
think they were
moving the
waiting.
truck.
Yeah, I think they were waiting for the field to go by before they could start moving. I think they're also cleaning up debris around the area as well. So
Yeah, you saw some people out there with basically just brooms to sweep away all the stuff into the bottom of the wall.
yeah, they
Just
were
to
obviously looking at cars going by when we last saw that shot. So,
mm.
um,
So they'll be sweeping like mad. It's going to be a couple more laps because they need to drive the car away. They need to sweep the debris away and then get all these guys off. And then are they going to unlap the back markers? We've got the Hasses kind of in between. Like we've got Hasses either side of Oscar Piastri.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to get them out of the way. Because, yeah, we've got Norris, then a Sauber, then Haas, then Piastri, then Haas.
Oscar is asking... Oscar is asking, kind of questioning why they're staying on intermediates.
It's fair enough from his perspective.
He kind of understands it, but he doesn't like it, just basically what's going on.
Yeah.
And the engineer basically is responding, understands.
It's fair enough inside the car, and you see everyone else now around you on slick tires. He starts to ask some questions. I do understand it from Haas. And they have to gamble if you're the strategy team. Like, they will just finish P15, 16 if they don't try anything, because they are just the slowest car, it seems. So they got to try something. It's going to be tricky.
We are, again, under safety cars. We're still waiting for Alonso's car to be fully removed from the track. Marshals right now are getting off track.
Slowly. They're kind of just watching. Just enjoying the front row view for a second. I like to see these back markers let through because the whole point of Verstappen going into those mediums is to try and make a move on the McLarens early on this stint. Which he can't really do with Haas in the way. And actually, weirdly, Verstappen has got Liam Lawson just ahead of him. But that's because Liam Lawson is almost an entire lap down and is just about to be lapped by his teammate.
So we are right now on lap 40 to 57. Again, you're listening to the Race to the YouTube channel. This is Crash with Mr. V. We're giving you live coverage of the race, this Grand Prix itself. Again, I want to thank you for coming on board for our first race this year, Mr. V.
Yeah, no problem. This is good fun. Why not? It's a good race for it as well. Excellent start to the season, so picked a good one for it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's been okay. We've had quite a lot of running in the middle there where no one could overtake anyone. But the storylines this weekend, I think, have made up for it. They've made it.
So lap cars can overtake, so that's going to be 5:31, 87:30. So the four cars. So that was Bordello, Ocon, Behrman, and Lawson. So they will unlap, and then we'll probably have one more lap. So we'll probably start at 41, 42. We'll be back to green. Seeing people talking about Norris and Oscar. One person just says, "Guys, Norris won't let Oscar win."
He's not just going to let him win.
Obviously. Yeah, I mean, if Oscar makes a mistake and Oscar gets ahead of him, he gets ahead of him. Here comes Behrman coming in.
They pit?
He just pitted, and he just pitted for.
Come on, Haas.
For mediums.
Yeah.
And we've got about 7 minutes, so about.
And Ocon did the same.
Noted that we saw that unsafe release. Oh, Behrman is swirly all over the place in front of. Is that in front of Max?
Yep.
Oh,
It
boy.
is, yeah.
So safety car is ending this lap.
That is Max is not going to be happy about that because they've let the lap cars through, but now he's put himself back into the pack by being slow out of the pits. Well, I know he was released into that position anyway. He was never going to come out ahead of the safety car. I wonder if they actually, if Haas the team are going to get some kind of call up to the stewards for like pitting back into the safety car pack. I don't know if there's any regulations about that.
I don't know. So it was Bortoletto who almost came out in front of Lawson, and that's been noted by safety by the stewards. Took a while to finally get that out.
They're letting Behrman through again.
Ouch, seeing Behrman hate in chat. That's interesting. Is it really going to rain? Because my weather app, it'll be raining again in 7 minutes. About a few minutes ago, we got that same report, Janelle.
It's unpredictable, though. It's hard to say. Like, obviously, the direction keeps changing with that rain.
Safety car is ending, and they... Oscar was very close to his teammate. And
very
here
close,
comes Lando, and now they are off. It's green flag, and Lando has taken off.
So, yeah, we've got a dry line, the entire field on, slick tyres, but it's still going to be greasy. It's still going to be slippery. This first lap is going to be everyone trying to figure out where the grip is now with these slick tyres, and we could see some people through the grass or worse. Clean so far. Max right on the back of Oscar. Yeah, pretty close.
So they're saying class 3 rain in 2 minutes. So about a minute or next.
Lasting for 2 laps.
2 laps. Charles is saying class 3 is a lot, so that's not good. Are we all going to see them all pit back onto intermediates?
I get the feeling no. I get the feeling they'll try and stick it out. But Norris has seen this one before, so
yeah.
But again, they're not entirely sure if it is going to hit the track. As I was saying, it might just hit a couple of the corners south side of the track, which is basically the right-hand side of the track map here. The track is actually rotated kind of 90 degrees from this in real life. So just at turn 12, again, turn 11, that kind of thing.
We are on lap 52 right now at 57. You're listening to Racing YouTube channel, and we are now back green flag racing on hards and mediums at this point. With the
at 42, thankfully, so we've still got 15.
Yeah, Haas did come out on medium tires, so
they did. But the pitted at the end of the safety car lost all the benefit and are now most of a lap behind Liam Lawson. So
we are now on lap 43, and DRS has been enabled now, so that's going to add more to what we've got at the moment.
Yeah, we've got people like Albon right on the back of Sonoda, like easily within range of an overtake with DRS, which he's going to have in just a second out of turn 8. Raining in the pit lane.
He said a half a class in the pit lane.
Antonelli on the back of Gasly coming into 9-10. I guess you want to make the overtakes now before the rain starts if you can, so people are going to be getting fighty. That whole gap from Russell backwards is super close together. The front three have again got a bit of a gap.
So Bertinelli has gotten an unsafe release, 5-second penalty.
Which actually is quite lenient. That was a pretty devastating release. Could easily put Lawson in the wall doing that. Hamilton on.
And Sonoda has just passed Leclerc
Back of
on
Sonoda.
track.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
That was a heck of a move by Yuki. Wow, he does lock up his tires, but he does get past Leclerc on the curve, and he's already a second and a third ahead of Leclerc.
He's on his job interview for Red Bull, it would seem. Liam Lawson down the back. Obviously, that team's not going to be making any changes anytime soon, but if you're Yuki, you want to keep the discussion alive.
Yeah, the one thing that Red and Leclerc is stalking Yuki right now. So,
he's going to get him again down into 11. No, he's not. Leclerc's just being cautious. We got both McLarens off.
Wow, both are gone.
I think they were fighting. And actually... And that's Piastri off.
Oscar's off.
And he's just stuck. He's going to be stuck in a hole. He's out.
Lando's
he's going to be
out. Yuki now takes P2. Hamilton P3, Gasly P4. So Norris, Russell, Albon, Anthony Stroll, Hulkenberg all pitted.
But Inter's. You couldn't really see on the cameras, but yeah, the rain has started again, which is why they just went super wide down at turn 11, turn 12. Piastri's still just stuck there. Like
Lawson up to
I'm
P6.
assuming...
Oh, this is just chaos at the moment.
Wait, Lawson P6?
They're telling Max the box.
Yeah.
And can Oscar... They're calling him out now. He's trying.
He's still moving. He's in reverse. I think that might be premature calling him out. Like, he might just retire if he does get into the pits. But he's moving. He's still moving. Unassisted.
And he's got him back on track.
3-point turn for Oscar, but he's going again. He's on the runoff.
There is definitely a cheer from the crowd.
And yep, they've declared him back in. He's turned up on the time tower again.
Verstappen was called into pit. He didn't pit, though.
I guess Verstappen fancies himself just to see it out with these mediums. He's obviously got a huge track advantage. Norris is down in P7 and...
P6 now. He just passed Lawson.
True. And actually is not that
we
far
are back
if
to
you look
green.
at...
So we are now back to green flag.
Mm-hmm.
We're back to racing. We are at 56. We just had major instances to shuffle off. Verstappen is P1. Hamilton is 8 seconds behind P2. Gasly's P3 with 11 seconds. Tsunoda's P4, 12 seconds. Clerk is P5. Then we've got Norris, Lawson, Russell, Albon, Stroll, Antonelli, Hulkenberg, Barlow, Ocon, and then Oscar's down a lap and Behrman's down a lap.
Crucially, that front 5 are all on slick tyres. They all stayed out. Norris is the first person who's pitted back onto Inters a lap ago.
Yeah.
Norris is not... I mean, he's not, like, racing through the field. I think it might have been a mistake. Like, obviously, it was tough on that lap, but I think putting the Inters on might have been a mistake. Because, I mean, he's braking at least twice as far back as you normally would, but he's making it work.
I think he needed to pit because he was having issues because they're probably damage to the tires that would basically needed him to go in. Yeah, Max is boxing now, and he can't hang on. Oh, he's almost. He is wiggling into the pits.
Okay, yeah, the rain is quite heavy now. It looks like it's going to be more than 2 laps, more than predicted. We shall see. Hamilton... Hamilton doesn't pit.
Hamilton, Leclerc 1-2, Norris 3, but Norris has already passed Leclerc.
Yeah.
And we have a yellow track hazard. In
We've
turn
got
13.
one of the Saubers has spun. He's just showing a static.
And
I think Bortoletto spun at turn 13.
And Lawson is in the wall.
Wow.
So Lawson is out.
We got two cars in the wall currently.
As well. Yeah, so Bartolo.
This has got to be a safety car. Yep. But here's an interesting one now. Safety car now. But if, as predicted, the rain is only a couple laps, the rain might have stopped by the time this safety car finishes, which means that the Ferraris could just stay on these hard tyres and they could be okay by the time we're back to racing.
That is a possibility.
And then if Norris has to get off these inters, that means Hamilton gets the lead of this race. This is crazy.
Oh my god, this is it's been chaos. I know some of you have found this race to be boring. It has not been a boring race. It's a very, very particular race. It's been there's been a lot of little bit of pieces, a lot of strategy. But damn, it's I'm at the edge of my seat watching.
It's certainly not a normal Formula 1 race, that is true. Like, we've seen no overtakes for the lead, but almost everything else that could possibly happen in a race has happened. Yeah, Leclerc went round. This was a few laps ago before the safety car. Hamilton is now pitting. That's I don't know.
And Hamilton's gone to intermediates. It's a double stack so they are going to intermediates.
Yeah. I think that's a shame, because if we're going to be under safety car for a couple of laps and the rain stops again, everyone else on the inters is going to clear a dry line for you.
It may not even. It may. I have a feeling that it may not even be safe to be on the slicks at this point.
Probably not, but if you can stay out the wall, you get a massive benefit.
No, I don't think it's even possible to stay on slicks.
Fair enough.
So one thing that we need to point out is Bortoletto has a 5-second penalty, and he didn't serve it. So that may translate to a grid place drop in the next race.
Yes. Should do, yeah. So both him and Lawson declared out.
Oh, yeah.
6 DNFs already. Well, 6 non-finishers, shall I say. Do you have any rookies left? We've got Antonelli P5.
And Behrman is P14.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't look that far down. Yes, we do.
But Antonelli having a heck of a debut in the chaos of this rain.
Absolutely.
Russell P3. And we've known that Russell does well in the rain. So he's on the podium right now.
Yeah. It's not bad. Got him in my fantasy team. Very happy with that.
Are they allowing? I think it's too early for them to make the call for lap cars. The only one that is lap behind is, I believe, Behrman. I'm showing a replay of Hamilton. Yeah, he was just struggling to stay on those softs.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a shame. It's a shame for Ferrari, because if they could have made that work, they would have got massive benefit out of this race. But yeah, if he was going to crash into the safety car, then you have to come in. Lewis
Hamilton
unhappy with Ferrari strategy on the radio.
Yeah, back to P9. Though Leclerc is P10, which is worse. So
True, but Leclerc did spin it, so that's kind of on him. We just there's an opportunity. We've got 8 laps to go, but Hamilton's got Gasly and Hulkenberg ahead of him. Hulkenberg in a Sauber, currently in P7, scoring 6 points, which should not be possible in that car. Seeing a replay of Leclerc fighting with Gasly and Tsunoda before they pitted, for instance, again. It looks like Grash has just stepped out for a sec. Stroll Masterclass up in P6. Here's Lance. 8 points for him. I think the only thing we can safely say is that absolutely no one would have predicted this order going into the last few laps of this race. Norris, Verstappen, Russell, Albon, Antonelli, Stroll, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Hamilton, Leclerc are our points runners currently. I get the feeling we're going to be racing again in a lap kind of thing. Almost got Ocon on Piastri back on the back of the pack. Actually, Behrman's just gone through now. Albon potential podium. He would have to get past Russell, which is not an easy thing to do. But as we've seen so far in this race, basically every car has an opportunity to spin round. Pure chaos is the name of the game here in Australia. Anyone at any point could end up in the gravel or on the grass or facing backwards. We're still getting a light drizzle, just the end of that little rain shower. It's going to be greasy. We're going to be restarting again with everyone on cold tyres. And because we've only got 7 laps to go, everyone is going to be fighting. So yeah, there's still a chance for this order to change around. I would expect to see some fighting, at least with the pack. You know, Antonelli, Stroll, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Hamilton, Leclerc. You have to imagine Albon's going to be doing everything he can to get that P3. Because if you could get a podium in a Williams, that is just an unbelievable storyline. Am I dreaming, or is Hulk P7? Yeah. Well, Hulk is P7, but it certainly feels like this entire race is a dream. The sleep deprivation has kicked in. It's 5:30 in the morning.
I'm fully awake.
Oh, I'm fully awake as well. You can't sleep through this. This is insane.
This is insane.
It feels like a fever dream. The amount of insane things that have happened.
Showing that Leclerc spinning, but not crashing.
And then Bortoletto spinning and crashing down at the second last corner.
So safety car is ending this lap. So safety car is ending on end of lap 51. So when we go into lap 52, we will be going green flag racing. Again, you listen to the Racing YouTube channel. We are at the end of the Australian Grand Prix. It's been chaos with rain, and we've got 6 cars out already. 5 did not finish. 1 did not start. Right now, again, our rookies, again, Antonelli's 5th and Behrman's 14th. I believe he's been given the call to unlap himself because he's no longer reflecting a lap.
Yeah. He's like the other side of the track from everyone else.
And he's got, it's probably the best place for him because he's in open air.
Well, he's going to be going full speed at ready, which means he can get his tyres warmed up a bit quicker than everyone else. He's not going to get to the back of the pack before they restart, but at least he can avoid the chaos. He can avoid anyone like spinning into the side of him. So hopefully, for Behrman's sake, he can just get to the end now, kind of without too much hassle. Norris is going to be restarting this pack again for the 3rd time. And I think he's gone. Yeah, he's gone. He's doing the same again. I guess he's found that like Max behind just can't do anything if he goes at turn 11. So,
and here he goes, Matt. We are now back to green flag racing.
So the rain has stopped again. Obviously, there's fresh water on the track, so the track will have lost a couple of degrees of temperature. It's going to be more slippery again. The whole field is on these inters, and I'm assuming they're just going to keep them to the end of the race.
Yeah, Max just had a little bit of a wiggle.
Which is allowing Norris to put a bit of a gap in over a second already. And actually, Russell, not too far off the back of Verstappen, he's obviously going to be looking for a P2. And then Albon behind him is just going to try and just go through on any fight between Russell and Verstappen and capitalize on it.
I want to call it Petro 717. You guys, you just put a good note that only rookies left are the ones who drove in Prema last year. Coincidence. It is a coincidence, but it is an interesting little tidbit that you pulled out.
Prema was so chaotic last year that at least it's prepared them for this. Prema Formula 2 team last year was just pure agents of chaos, and so for Antonelli and Behrman, this just feels like this is just their day job.
Oh,
this obviously like Behrman and Antonelli were 2 of the most hotly favoured rookies to come in. People saying like 2 of the most talented, and I would say Bortoleto as well. And it seems to be showing. Like everyone else has been caught out by the rain, caught out by their first race in Formula 1. For me, Antonelli is by far the most impressive of all the rookies, and it's in P5 from his P16 start.
Yeah, P16. So he's up 11 places.
And if he can, he's going to be trying to make a move on Albon ahead of him. He's not that close. And he's only got 5 laps to do it.
He's still within DRS. If they enable DRS, he's within DRS range of Albon as well. Man, if he, as we stand right now, Mercedes is going to lead the constructors.
They'll be joint with McLaren.
Will it be joint with McLaren?
Yeah, 25 for a win. 3rd and 5th is 25.
Okay.
But joint first in the constructors. Technically second because the win puts McLaren ahead. But that's still a very good position to be in. This, I mean, the stars have already aligned for Mercedes here, where they've got seemingly 2 drivers who are both pretty good in the wet. It's a cold weekend, which always favours them. And then everyone else has just crashed and done terrible strategies around them, and they've just sort of carried on through the field because of that. So they've been good. Like Russell was right up there. He was on good pace. And they've just made the least mistakes, really, other than Verstappen, who also has been pretty spot on.
And
we've got an Alpine wide. That's Gasly. Leclerc's going to go
around
side by side.
So Leclerc got by.
Hamilton goes around him as well, and Hamilton actually is
behind. And we got Oscar behind Gasly now.
Hamilton is right on the back of Leclerc, or was going through turn 4 there. Is Hamilton going to play nice? Is he going to just stick behind Leclerc? does he want to kind of like make his mark and finish ahead of him? They're going to be close. Piastri's going to get Gasly easily, like the pace of that McLaren. Yeah.
And DRS, we've now gone to lap 54. DRS enabled. Oscar's still behind Gasly.
Around the outside of 9.
An
That's not a place to make an overtake. DRS enabled, so we're going to see Antonelli on the back of Albon is the key one, and Hamilton on the back of Leclerc. Yeah, Antonelli behind Albon are just coming down the main straight now, just crossing the line. He's too far back to make a move this time, but he's going to be so close to him. 0.2 behind. And then DRS again down into turn 3.
So Kimi has DRS on Albon.
He does.
Just about, and he's half a second. He's stalking on him. And Oscar's just passed Gasly for that P10 position.
It's a point. It helps. At least it didn't DNF, to be honest. That would have been pretty devastating. So it's always good to finish, wherever it may be. So at this point, McLaren's going to be winning the Constructors by 1 point. But if Antonelli does get that pass on Albon, that's going to put Mercedes up to P1 in the Constructors' Championship.
Max is 7/10 behind Lando right now.
He is. He's getting closer, I
So
think, these last couple of laps.
Two laps to go.
Yeah, Verstappen is faster than Norris these last couple of laps.
Yeah, that safety car did help him out greatly.
Oh, he is not the kind of person you want in your DRS with 2 laps to go. As we said, almost every media pundit across the world has put Norris and Verstappen as the 2 favourites for the Drivers' Championship this year. And we come to the end of the final race, and they are half a second apart with 2 laps to go.
So McLaren believes that they have pace in the car, don't over push it. Did tell Lando that Max is in DRS range. So that's interesting. They told him not to over push it.
I guess they're just worried about him like going off again down at turn 11, that kind of thing. Because obviously if he does end up on the grass, that's a guaranteed win for Max. He's just going to be riding his ERS, just blasting it.
He's moved up to 4th.
He's taken Albon.
He's overtaken Albon. So we've got
Mercedes leading the Constructors
by Antonelli.
Did he? Oh, I really hope he doesn't get caught
Final
back.
lap now. We are on the final lap. Verstappen is about half a second behind Norris right now.
Both of them drifting it through turn 2.
We have Russell 5 seconds behind, and then we have Antonelli, but he is being investigated for unsafe release.
We didn't see it. We haven't seen a replay of it, so it's hard to say. I hope he doesn't get a penalty for that. It would be such a storyline for him to get P4 on debut there, and then Mercedes to actually like lead the Constructors. If he gets a 5-second penalty, that's going to put him down into P6, maybe even P7, depending on where Hulkenberg is. Which would be a shame.
Depends where Stroll sends up.
Yeah,
could probably be P6.
Max
and Antonelli did get the 5. He did get the 5-second penalty.
Max trying to hold it as close as he can through turns 9 and 10 to get that run down to turn 11, but doesn't. Norris is ahead. 2 corners to go.
Otrich just passed Hamilton. And we're into the last turn right now to the final.
And that's going to be a win.
It's going to be a win for Norris.
First win of the season.
Verstappen P2. Russell's going to come in P3. Antonelli's going to come in P4 on track, but he's got a 5-second penalty. That will drop him most likely to P6.
P5, it looks like.
5, actually. That's
Stroll's too far back.
So Albon takes P4, Antonelli P5, Stroll P6, Hulkenberg P7, Leclerc P8, Oscar gets into P9, and Hamilton gets P10. Gasly, Tsunoda, 11, 12, Ocon, Behrman finish out the race. Moral victory for Behrman for completing the race. We got to give him that. When all the other, him and Antonelli, the only two rookies that completed the race. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2,
and actually, having a P13 for Ocon on the board is good for Haas. If we're going to get another battle of lots of teams with 0 points. And actually, wait, has every other team scored points here? I think. Oh no, RB hasn't, and Alpine hasn't.
Yeah, but Tsunoda's got 12, and Gasly's going to have the 11th.
Yeah. Oh, so actually Haas is P10 in the constructors. But yeah, he finished the race, so he's certainly doing better than Lawson, Bortoleto, Doohan, and Hadjar. Pretty devastating for Oscar as well. That spin at turn 13, stuck on the grass for a lap, basically had to reverse it out onto the tarmac runoff. Formula 1 car, not quite as quick in reverse as it is going forwards.
Ooh, that was a massive move on Hamilton.
It's crazy, actually.
They're showing didn't show it in the moment, but they're now showing the pass that Oscar did on Hamilton.
Right outside of turn 9 is a risky place for an overtake in the dry, let alone on a damp track. I mean, Oscar was just trying to salvage everything he could there. He's gonna be unhappy not to be finishing this race at least on the podium.
I want to thank everyone who's been here during this race. Again, we got over 2,200 likes. Past 1,036,000 subscribers. New march to our bigger numbers. We had over 12,000, I think, at peak. Like I saw, we may have been more. I want to thank everyone who was here during the race. Again, it's been a wild race, a lot of safety cars, a lot of strategy that those safety cars produced. Yes, Hulkenberg P7 got points in the Sauber. Stroll got points in the Aston Martin in P6. Antonelli gets P5. Russell gets a P3. So again, we're tied at the top of the constructors with Russell and Antonelli again.
Well, no, Piastri got P9, so McLaren's going to finish it on 27 points. Mercedes 25.
Oh, that's right. So I missed those 2 points. My apologies. So,
yeah, we're going to be seeing McLaren, Mercedes, then Red Bull in the constructors, followed by Williams. Yeah,
Williams,
wow.
Aston Martin, Stake.
And then Stake and Ferrari tied. No, Stake ahead of Ferrari. That's not good. No, not for Ferrari anyway.
Oh boy,
Max looking happy, getting out of the car. So we've got Norris kind of ending where he should have, let's say, or where everyone expects him to finish, with a car that was significantly faster when we got some kind of dry running. Max more than happy to finish the race within a second of Lando there.
Oh wow! Do you have anything else you want to say before we take off?
I'm just excited for the season at this point. You have to remember that Albert Park is a weird one. Albert Park's a very unique track, very high speed, very strange surface because it is just a a park with some roads. So, and also with the rain, obviously not representative. Not expecting Hulkenberg to get P7 every single race, which means that we go into the next race still not knowing what to expect. This is going to be a great season. Thoroughly looking forward to 2025. No, that's it from me.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Again, I know Racing Tickets dropped a link to one of your channels into chat. So again, if those who don't know Mr. V, he's got 2 YouTube channels. Go look him up. He's actually got really good content. He does work with other people as well, and that's it's interesting to see you working with other people as well as us. Definitely, you're welcome. Welcome to come back for quality practice, another race if you want to, my friend.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what I'm up to. Let's do one where I don't have to wake up at